Tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Eastern Time, that would be Tuesday, February 3rd. Three appellate judges are going to decide Charlie Adelson's fate. Will he remain in a South Dakota prison for the rest of his life, or will he get a second shot at a trial? It's not a retrial. It's not about guilt or innocence. It's about whether constitutional errors crossed a line that simply cannot be ignored.
Welcome to the global phenomenon, Surviving the Survivor. Here's your host, Emmy Award-winning journalist, Joel Waldman.
What's up, STS Nation? Welcome to the global phenomenon that is Surviving the Survivor, bringing you the very best guests in all of true crime. And at this time tomorrow, we will have seen it. 10 a.m. Eastern Time, the First District Court of Appeal in Tallahassee hears oral arguments in Charlie Adelson's appeal. It's a critical moment in the Dan Markel murder for hire case that's been going on for the better part of 11 years. Tonight, we're going to break that down, plus a huge thank you to Leslie B. Crime in a Minute. Leslie B. from Crime in a Minute. If you haven't checked her out, check her out. Sub to her channel. As Steve Cohen likes to say, a rising tide lifts all ships. Carm butchers it by saying something like a rising stream lifts all boats, but you get the idea. And in the world of content creation, where it can be very competitive, we try to be very kind to one another, and she has foiled some interesting information. So we'll have some emails from Wendy Adelson that the COE is loading up. But the first part of this, and by the way, Dave Arenberg, former Florida state attorney from Palm Beach County, the good-looking guy, he's going to be here in just a couple of minutes, and he'll be here with the other good-looking guy, John Day, and the other good-looking woman, Prof. Joe Explains, Professor Joe Patuto. Here she is, Professor Emerita, University of Nebraska School of Law. She's got Prof. Joe Explains, her new YouTube channel. Check it out. And John Day, criminal defense attorney, one-time prosecutor, prosecuting sex crimes. And John has joined us on the Alexander Brothers story as that trial churns on here. To you first, John Day, since typically it is women first, but Joe Patuto has already opined on this quite a bit, and we'll get her take once again. Oral arguments before an appellate panel of three judges here. It will be live streamed. We'll bring it at 10 a.m. In something like this that's as concise as this is, what are you looking for during these arguments from either side?
Well, the issue here, it's the constitutional issue of did he get a fair trial? Was it pretrial publicity, cause any kind of constitutional violation? They've got to be fast on their feet to convince these judges that there was some place in Florida that would have been better. I mean, it's kind of hard to comprehend the idea that there would have been some place that would have been a different venue, or that somehow the publicity didn't reach someplace in the state. It's a tough, it's been a long time since I did it. I always certainly you get nervous. If you're not nervous, you're not doing it right. But I can't wait to see what the defense strategy is, what the defense argument is, and how compelling it is right out of the gate.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see that too. Huge thanks to Santa, I can't pronounce it, but she says here, and I'll bring this up, Daddy Short Nuts. This is maybe, okay, here we go. Hi, Joel and team. Just wanted to say thank you for all the hard work you put in every day. I know it's hard being full-time parents as well. Yeah, it's a bit, and thank you for that so much. And Daddy Short Nuts with maybe the comment of the day today. We need to start giving out like something for comment of the day. Where is Daddy Short Nuts' comment? COE, I could use there it is. I took a shortcut down Trescott en route to smashing the like button. Daddy Short Nuts for the win right there. Again, another great panel. And again, Dave Arenberg is going to join. So just what is happening tomorrow. These are going to be oral arguments, 3-judge panel, 20 minutes aside. Charlie Adelson will not be in court. Since we spoke last week around this time, Joe, any change in your thoughts about what you are anticipating or how this might be carried out specifically by Michael Offerman, the appellate attorney here for Charlie Adelson?
No, I still think they will focus on the jury, the pool, and the claim that they should have started over again once there was a possibility of one or two of the jurors having heard information they shouldn't have heard, and the fact that other members of the pool might have heard it and there was nowhere to cure it other than start over again. I still think that's the best argument they have in all of them. I expect Ufferman to reserve 3 to 5 minutes for rebuttal. I expect him to focus on one argument and not try to do all 5 of them in 20 minutes. And the one thing I don't know, because I don't know this panel, is how hot a panel it will be, how much they will be asking questions as compared to sitting silent. And I think what you will find is if the panel asks questions, I expect Ufferman to be prepared and focus on where the judges have their questions and not try to stay to his script, which is the right way to do an appellate argument.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very important point. And to that point, how malleable do you need to be, John Day, when you're, I mean, this is a different art form for sure. Here is Dave Arenberg. Let's bring him. Dave Arenberg, the effervescent Dave Arenberg. Welcome to the show. Please meet John Day, criminal defense out of Santa Fe. You know the professor, Professor Joe Patuto, Professor Emerita, and everyone knows the ubiquitous Dave Arenberg. If you scroll through your cable channels tonight, you'll see Dave Arenberg at least 3 different times on 3 different networks. But
if you get lucky,
right. But John Day, I have no idea what I was asking you. Do you remember what I was just asking you?
Responding, how focused are you in your response to the appellate questions? I mean,
yeah. How malleable do you have to be in an appellate hearing?
You gotta read the room. You got to know who you're talking to and what they're looking for, and cut to the chase. So that's gonna be fascinating.
Yeah, it for sure is going to be fascinating. COE, if you can pull up that photo, not right now, but at some point, of Phil Markel, just so you all know, we're in very close touch, I think, as you all know, who watch the show regularly, with the Markels, and our heart always goes out to them at the loss of their son, Dan. And I was on Court TV this morning, surprised not to see Dave Arenberg there, but we were talking about the appellate hearing tomorrow. But we sent Phil some swag. We made some swag up that says, "Was it worth it?" and "Justice for Dan Markel." And he was so happy. He sent me a photo. So we'll show a proud looking Phil Markel. And there's a link if you guys are interested. It's a pretty cool shirt there. But Dave Arenberg, to you, huge day. I mean, Charlie Adelson's not going to be there. We will at 10 a.m. And his appellate attorney, Michael Ufferman, I'm not sure if you know or not, but is said to be one of the best in the state. What are you looking for on a day like tomorrow, where each side gets 20 minutes?
He's got an excellent appellate lawyer, but he's dealt with the hand that he has, which is not a very good one. I would love to know from this esteemed panel, especially from Professor Joe, it does seem like their best argument is the conflict argument, but that one is weak. The fact that Rashbaum represented both of them. I mean, he waived it early on. And anyways, Rashbaum was his lawyer before he was his mom's lawyer. So I think if anyone has a conflict to crow about, maybe it's she, but then he didn't represent her in the end. And then there's the pretrial publicity. But correct me if I'm wrong, even though you object to the jury at the beginning, if you agree at the end of jury selection and say, the jury is acceptable, don't you waive any claim that the jury is tainted by pretrial publicity? I mean, you said the jury is acceptable to you. You have to renew your objection. So that's why I don't think they've got any really good claims on appeal.
Joe Patuto, you're the professor. Why don't you hop in on those 47 questions?
I only heard 2, actually.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's fuzzy math.
I was paying attention.
I'm happy. It makes my job easier. It sounded like 47.
Yeah, they to preserve, you shouldn't accept the jury, particularly when you still have peremptories left, which he did. So I mean, it's just wild. I mean, at least they should have used up all the peremptories and then said they didn't accept the jury. Did neither of those things. On the conflict, they're not going to be able to raise that anyway until collateral relief, because It's not part of the trial appeal.
What does that mean in
So-
English, collateral relief?
It means after the all appeals have run, then they come into the trial level court again, maybe state court, certainly federal, and say there was an error of constitutional magnitude that happened at the trial, and we're entitled to a new trial because of it. And the claim he's got with the conflict is ineffective assistance of counsel at trial.
I think what he's trying to do is to use the ineffective assistance of counsel as a way to get at the conflict without having to wait for the collateral relief, right? Isn't that their strategy, claiming ineffective assistance?
They didn't raise it in the brief that I saw. So if that's what they're trying to do, they have failed again.
Wow, and that's Opperman, who's excellent. Oh, thank you, Samantha Joe. You're awesome. Samantha Joe, who's born on July 16th.
Yeah, there you go.
And that matters because
I just want you to see how perceptive I am that I can tell when she was born by her screen name.
I see. I see. I see.
Maybe it's the last four of her social. You let us know, Samantha. Is it your birthday to the last four? Don't tell us if it's your social.
I think, Dave, that the best argument they have, I don't think it's a strong one, but I think they've got a shot, is the claim that the jury pool was tainted because a couple of them talked about knowing something about the trial. One or two of them said he was guilty. Jurors said they didn't hear it. But the argument that Ufferman is making is that's a structural error in that you can't tell. You can't prove that somehow the jurors weren't affected by it. And so the only cure is an automatic reversal in a new trial. Now, I don't think it's a strong case, but I think that's the strongest one they have on this appeal.
Is that? Can I ask a question on that one, Joel? I'm sorry,
Dave. I love it, man. I'm fried. This is my third show of the day, so keep going.
Are you saying, Joe, that the jurors who were selected heard other jurors during voir dire, jury selection?
Not the ones who were selected, because they were struck, so they weren't there.
But they heard those.
They
jurors.
heard, and the claim they're making is, even though the jurors, those who made it through, I think some of them are on the jury, but they don't say clearly in the briefs. Even though they either said they didn't hear it or they weren't affected by it, Ufferman is saying it's a structural error. It affects the integrity of the trial, and you can't demonstrate that they weren't somehow affected somehow. So the only relief is a reversal without any showing of prejudice or anything else. It's an automatic reversal and a new trial.
Wow, I would give that 2 thumbs down. I think that is just a terrible argument.
I mean, let me try to pick up on that with John Day. I mean, John Day, if that is the argument, I mean, can't you kind of make that argument of I never pronounce it right, the jury veneer, pronounced different everywhere, but aren't they always in some capacity going to overhear others talking about stuff?
Well, by the way, thanks for making me follow these two, Joel. Appreciate it.
I have no idea what's going on already.
No, it's but no, you're right. I mean, that's an argument. It's a great argument, but I think Dave Ehrenberg's right. I mean, that's not going to go anywhere. Because that's so expansive. I mean, you could say that about if there's any juror issue, you don't have to present any evidence. You don't have to have any affidavits from jurors. I mean, I don't know what they've got on this appellate case, but if you're just making some kind of a bald statement that, as the professor says, it's a structural problem and therefore you need to start all over, I mean, that would cause some kind of havoc in the court system of Florida and any other jurisdiction.
Yeah. Right. Joe Patuto, I mean, this is the question. This is the bottom line question, Miss Annie K, that everyone is asking. What's the likelihood, in your opinion, of any appeal flying here?
I think it's virtually zero, but I'm willing to give 5% on this argument that Dave and John both think can't go anywhere, because I think that's the kind of argument that might be attractive to appellate lawyers, in that when jurors are talking to each other when they're not supposed to, and even though the other jurors said they weren't affected, they didn't hear, that's the kind of thing that I think is something that might worry an appellate court about whether the trial could have been fair, since you can't demonstrate, you can't really show where they affected, and they may be honest and still not be correct that it didn't somehow affect them. So I don't think it's a very good argument. I think it's better than any of the others that they're raising.
What's the betting line on this? Have you seen anything?
Yeah, I was Joe. I was just going to ask you. I mean, like at 100% being for sure an appeal coming. What kind of percent do you put this at?
I'd put it at 5%.
Yeah, Dave Arenberg, you
2%. Also, I'm taking into consideration that the First District Court of Appeal up there in Tallahassee, they are the most conservative in the state. They are to the right of. People always like to use a tilde hunt, but give me another figure I can use more current. I don't know.
To the right of
Current
Nick
is
Fuentes.
dangerous.
I don't know.
I wanted to make a Breaking Bad reference in honor of Mr. Day. I wanted to I love your state. I love Albuquerque. I want to do the tour for Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul. Now I'm even watching Pluribus. That's how much I love that whole genre.
I do too. Actually, I love it.
Yeah.
Great. Let's see here. Dave is in the house. I adore Dave. Who doesn't adore Dave? Dave, this one is for you. You might take it the wrong way, but you shouldn't. Dave, your Wendy prediction did not come to fruition. Please tell me you still think it's going to happen. We're going to get into Wendy in a little bit. As you can tell, this is a footloose and fancy-free type show. Third show of the day for me. So if you guys have lots of questions, please throw them our way. By the way, the COE, before you answer that, Dave, she's going to yell at me, but this is Phil. Oh, this is not. This is Phil Markel. And that's if you see the hat, it says Justice for Dan Markel. And then the shirt says, was it worth it? Which is Phil's line with Justice for Dan. And we will put in a link. COE, I don't know where you can put the link. We'll put this up tonight and tomorrow during the appellate hearing and the link. And if you guys purchase, we're going to give proceeds percentage to Justice for Dan. So there's Phil. But what's going on, Dave Arenberg? Are we going to see Wendy, something happen with Wendy post-appeal?
Well, why do you think I got it wrong? I said that Wendy would be indicted, in my opinion, by Thanksgiving. I just didn't say which Thanksgiving. Could be Thanksgiving 2027.
Yeah. True.
So I maintain, I still believe she will. Now that puts me at odds with our friend Tim Jansen and others who think that the ship has sailed. But I still believe that based on the evidence, based on the fact that the foreperson of the jury, who was not listening to all the evidence against Wendy, just a snippet, said, "Oh yeah, she's guilty." Like, wow, you just convinced that juror beyond a reasonable doubt, and you haven't even shown your evidence. So I think they've got a good case. Plus, I think they just maybe they're taking their time because there's some other stuff in the works where they're trying to gain more evidence. Maybe they think they don't have enough yet, but they're working on getting more evidence. I just still find it hard to believe that they will end the case there when Georgia said, "Stay tuned." I mean, that's her trademark line. Stay tuned.
Yeah, I would have trouble believing this is the end of the road. We're looking at Wendy, I was going to say maybe during better times, but there were actually worse times for her because it was during another trial. But she's got to be sleeping with one eye open. And again, true crime in a minute. Leslie B. FOIA'd some stuff that she's sharing with us tonight, and we'll get to some Wendy emails in just a few moments. Well, not a few moments, but a few more minutes, and we'll look at those. But John Day, here's a question. You know what? Let me go to the professor because this is a little more of a professorial question, I think, but we'll have you weigh in. Gino Mash. Joe, can Charlie argue his own waiver wasn't knowing because the joint defense risks weren't fully disclosed? And this is obviously talking to the fact that Rashbaum was initially Donna's attorney, then his attorney. How do you respond?
Yeah, I mean, theoretically, he can. The waiver has to be knowing, intelligent, and voluntary, and it has to be his. So he theoretically can make the claim that he just didn't understand. I don't think that's going to go very far, but it's available to him.
Yeah. John Day, back to the, this is a very formal setting, obviously, First District Court of Appeal, not appeals, but appeal. And something I think Tim Jansen or Joe said, I'm not sure, last week was you can kind of glean a lot from the questions of the judges. How so? Like, depending on how would you interpret certain things, I guess?
In my experience, they're looking for the weak points. They want to see how strong the weak point argument you can make is. They're poking at the holes, and it's got a short amount of time they've got. It's not a lot of time they've got to make the case. And so they're going to be looking for some kind of reinforcement for the weak points. Just getting back to the waiver of the conflict, though, issue, you got to imagine that they papered the file or somehow documented incredibly intensely that there was a waiver of the conflict issue if you're his counsel, because that's going to be something down the road that's going to come back to potentially haunt you. So,
yeah. And Dave Arenberg, I mean, in the in the filing, I don't think it ever said counsel was ineffective. But is there an argument that could be made tomorrow that counsel was ineffective? I guess by way of not disclosing conflicts, et cetera, et cetera. Will we hear that phrase?
I think that when you're a defense lawyer, you always expect to hear it when your client takes an appeal, and you don't take it personally because it happens all the time. When I was state attorney, we saw it constantly, and it rarely works. But in those few instances where there's a real screw up, it could. I don't think this rises to that level because of the waiver. And I just don't think he has any really good grounds. That's why I put it at 2%. But yeah. Joe brings up an interesting point because, as far as bringing up that issue, she said it's collateral, so it's going to be later. But I just think that they're going to find a way to bring it in through this ineffective assistance of counsel.
Yeah, and then Dave, good to see you. Do you believe there was a written waiver by Rashbaum? That's from Dawn. There's always been this question of a written waiver versus, just verbally stated. If there is no actual written waiver, how does that change what happens tomorrow?
Well, didn't Rashbaum come on your show, Joel, and say, I've got the waiver? Like pretty much.
Yeah, which is why I'm praying we don't get outed tomorrow, but yes.
Well, you may get subpoenaed down the road, perhaps, Joel.
You love to do that to me.
But if you need a good lawyer, I know a couple.
Yeah, you'll be my first call, Dave.
I actually got a client. They called me. They said, I need you to represent us in a case in Florida. I'm like, great. Tallahassee. I said, well, do you realize that's 7 hours away from me? These folks are from the Midwest. I said, I don't think you realize Florida, the design of Florida. It's not Rhode Island. So I actually referred it to Tim Jansen.
There you go. It's a good call. That's a long drive and a sore subject for the Adelsons. Dan Stengel became a YouTube member.
Dan's a great guy. Dan is a great guy and a good friend. That's so cool.
Do you know him? Do you really know him, Dave?
Yeah. Dan is very active in politics in Tallahassee. He lives in Tallahassee. He's very active up there. I've known him for a long time. I assume it's the same Dan Stengel.
Yeah, well, welcome, Dan. And any friend of Arenberg is a friend of ours, so welcome. Hey, STS host just popped in. Christine, Christine Jill became a member. Is Kristen Jill. Is Kristen a pseudonym for Wendy? And then it would be Wendy Jill. Not yet, COE. Not yet. We'll get to those. What are you doing to me? Okay. COE just takes control here. It's unbelievable. I try to host the show, John Day, and now she's just throwing graphics up here. John Day, the threshold here for ineffective assistance of counsel, what is it? I don't want to mention names, but we just watched the Brendan Banfield trial. He was just found guilty on all counts. His lawyer was I'm not saying he was ineffective. In no way am I saying that. I'm just saying he was very disorganized. He was admonished by the judge on more than one occasion. He was incredibly monotonous to listen to, which doesn't make him ineffective. What does make counsel ineffective according to the law?
Something concrete that points to either a decision or an action or an omission that a reasonable lawyer doing the same kind of work would not do or not make. And Dave's right. It's common. It's in almost every single criminal appeal that a defendant takes, because why not throw it in there? It doesn't mean that it happened in every single case, and it's the standard's high. I mean, there really has to be some kind of malfeasance, some kind of, and not just a strategic error, not just an error in trial strategy. It has to be something that a lawyer who's a reasonable lawyer in the ordinary practice of law, doing that kind of work, that kind of defense work, wouldn't do, and it caused a prejudice to the defendant that was irreparable. So it's tough. I mean, it happens, but you don't see it at that level usually. I mean, it's not something that you're going to see lawyers of that level of experience actually committing. It usually tends to be the people are either just starting out or are just struggling, or, I mean, you really don't see it in the big cases.
There's a case right now. What's the name of the woman in the Dulos, the murder of the wife, and the woman
Michelle
was put on?
Troconis?
Yeah, she's just in a collateral attack, claiming that her trial lawyer provided ineffective assistance of counsel because he let her be interviewed by the police, I think 3 separate times without him being there. And they just had a hearing on it. The judge hasn't decided yet.
Is that a pretty firm argument, you think? I mean, that sounds like it would be.
Well, certainly if you're talking about what reasonable lawyers do, it's extraordinarily unusual to let your client go in without you being present and let her do 3 interviews. I think it was 3.
Yeah, I mean, John Day, would you ever let a client speak to lawyers without you present?
No, I mean, unless you have some brilliant strategy that I have never seen in my practice. No, I mean, maybe I'm missing something, but
unless you hate your client and you want them convicted.
That's a whole different show, Joel. But.
Yeah.
Well, his claim was he thought she was telling the truth so she could help herself by talking.
Oh,
do not hire that lawyer. That's a
yeah. Well, look at this. Daddy Shortnuts with a comment of the day. So he says it's time to move on to Wendy. We have so much to cover here, but it's a wacky, weird Monday. So, COE, let's bring up these Wendy emails. I might need you to actually speak on this show because with all due respect to me, I was covering first the Brendan Banfield and then went straight into Savannah Guthrie's mother. So, okay, these are FOIA'd emails. Leslie B., True Crime in a Minute. If you haven't subscribed to her page, subscribe to her page. And this is from Donna Sue now. And the subject line here is TV repair from Best Buy, July 11th of 2014. This is a week before the murders. If you can't keep Friday, July 18th between 8 a.m. and noon, call to reschedule at 188. I won't give out the number. Contract is under Harvey Adelson with Dad's cell phone number. Oh, Harvey, I wonder if he knew about this. If they need the purchaser, that's my name with my cell number. The work order is 238, yada, yada, yada. The contract, what a word to use here. The contract. The contract we took out is repair in house if possible. If not possible, they will take out at no charge. If it can't be fixed, TV is replaced at no charge with a new one. Dave Arenberg, I'm kind of joking, but this is literally a metaphor in a lot of ways for what happened. It's the first time I'm ever seeing this email. I don't know if it's the first time you're ever seeing. Again, this is from Donna Sue to her lovely daughter, Wendy Jill Adelson, a week before the murders. What do you make of this?
I mean, planning is what it looks like. Remember, TV was the code for the murder all along. Now, what's interesting is if you can't keep Friday, July 18th between 8 and noon, call to reschedule. I'm trying to think the import of that sense. I mean, obviously that was the date he was murdered, right? That was the time.
Yeah.
So, right?
That was the time.
And so
right.
she needed to keep that time. So I wonder if she wrote that, try to like as an alibi, like to make it seem like, oh no, this is a legitimate appointment. I'm trying to figure out what she meant by that first sentence, or would they actually, because they could not reschedule the murder. I mean, the murder is the murder. They didn't have the flexibility there. So I think that first sentence was there to throw people off in case anyone is watching. They can see this really is a TV repair. Here's my bigger issue with this whole thing. Is TV repair like a thing? And do people really like?
I don't think so, because I think TVs, the price point is so low on TVs. It's more cost effective to buy a new one. I mean, it costs the same to fix it.
Yeah, here's a family, a wealthy family that can buy a much nicer flat screen for probably less, who's calling Best Buy to come over and fix a TV. When was the last time Best Buy went to a house to fix a TV? I mean, it just seems like an antiquated idea from someone like a grandmother who's trying to plot a murder.
Yeah, it's interesting. You know, we had some speakers installed and the Geek Squad came out, but that's because I literally I have trouble opening a bottle of ketchup. So I'm not installing speakers, but the Geek Squad came out for that. But I've never heard of repairing a TV. Let's go up the ladder here till we get to the top, Joe Patuto. But in the middle there, John Day, very odd. And again, I've never seen this, but again, if you can't keep Friday, July 18th, between 8 noon, yada, yada, contract is under Harvey Adelson with dad's cell phone number. The work order is yada, yada, yada. I mean, they're taking steps to conceal the code, but it sounds like they're up to no good.
Yeah, I was looking for the sentence that said Harvey Adelson is your dad, period. Like maybe you're trying too hard here. I mean,
right.
It's just bizarre. So much information in this thing that is not necessary or even relevant to real life. So
that's a little point you just made, but it's a huge observation. I mean,
that was the point I was trying to make, but with many more words. So well done.
Yeah, and I mean, who would ever actually write this unless you're trying to like cover up something that you're actually saying by overdoing it? Joe Patuto, Ida Shaw, who's an attorney like yourself, but not a professor like you, premeditation, ! What does the professor think about seeing this?
Well, I agree with what John and Dave said, but I'll play devil's advocate a little. You've got an overbearing mother who thinks this daughter can't drive to Miami on her own, can't make decisions on her own, can't even find a husband on her own. And this reads the way I would expect Donna to send emails to Wendy with much more information that was needed, dotting every little I and making sure that this poor waif who can't punch her way out of a paper bag will know exactly what she needs to do all morning when the Best Buy guys arrive. I happen to agree. Nobody would do. And that TV, it was not, I mean, the damage to the TV was the screen, which is even more sillier about trying to replace it. And I think Charlie had said, or maybe it was Jeff Lacoste, that the TV was not a big deal TV. It looked like something that somebody would have in a dorm room. And in addition, the story was that Charlie bought her the TV, not Harvey, which is what this email seems to say, or Donna.
In my book, Surviving the Survivor, which is about my mom, every chapter starts with an actual transcript of a voicemail. And they usually start with no offense, and then comes the offense, or you don't understand. And then comes the explanation. You don't understand, Joanne. And then it comes the explanation. But she gets right to the point. It's not all this hemming and hawing like you have here. Kristen here says, Dave, this proves Wendy lied on the stand. Does it, Dave? I don't know. Can you make an argument that she was, impugning herself on the stand?
What testimony in particular? What did she say that directly contradicts this?
Said her brother bought the TV, for one thing, because it was his
that's one
divorce gift, and it was cheaper than hiring a hitman. So the TV came from her brother, not from Donna.
Is that the same TV?
Yep.
Because that's the same TV that he bought her. Well, and that's the same TV that broke. I could, maybe you can say that's just not material. Who bought the TV? Okay, right. It's I don't think they would ever go after her for perjury. Now there may be other things she has said that would be perjury, but this, I think it'd be hard to get her on that. I just think for other reasons, like what Professor Joe just said, this TV was like a dorm room TV. This wasn't even a fancy flat screen TV. Why would you pay the Geek Squad to fix it? I would love to know at some point, maybe to ask the kids one day, did you really bust the TV? Were you the ones who really broke that TV? Because she blamed it on the kids.
Yeah. I 100% agree with that line of questioning, Dave. From Gino Mash, John Day, I don't know that I follow this question, but it might be interesting. Was Donna's case a blessing in disguise for Wendy? Do you see any scenario where Donna's trial was helpful to Wendy?
I mean, interesting. Trying to think about that. I think no. I mean, because, you know what the rule of completeness is, right? The rule of evidence, right? You have to, if you bring out one thing, the other side's entitled to bring out the rest of it. I think that's what the prosecution has to do in this case. You know, if you're going to go down the line with everybody except Harvey and Wendy, and then Wendy's the obvious target. I don't think that was any kind of a blessing for Wendy. It just sharpens the focus on her when you realize, you know, that mom's involvement, just by looking at this email, for example, that's not a real life email. There's something fishy about that. We don't know exactly what it is, but I think everybody who looks at that says that's not how people talk to each other unless they're planning some kind of, you know, conspiratorial murder. I think that's where that leads us to. Just don't know what it means exactly.
100%. And by the way, Abby Crossing, thank you for the super chat. I'm about to put you to work. This is me not asking about Wendy. Cheers from Tally. Justice for Dan. So Abby's after. I was supposed to be with Abby. I can't go tomorrow because of a school obligation with my son. The kid asked me. He said, "You're not going to be here, and it's a big deal." And I had to say yes. But Abby, is it possible for you to join us? Abby's going to be at the appellate hearing, maybe right afterwards, to hop on a stream. I'll let you and the COE connect on that. Abby and myself and the COE have become friends, and she helps us, you know, behind the scenes. So, and Abby will be there. So that would be really amazing if you can hop on. There was another question I had, but let's COE. This is the next one, I assume. Again, this is all courtesy of YouTube's Crime in a Minute and Leslie B. Thank you here. Okay. This is Wendy Adelson wrote this. I'm not sure to who, but I know what I was going to say. In the last email where Harvey's mentioned at the top, it is my mother that I can, the only one I can remember from day one of knowing about this case. She said Harvey is complicit in this. Will Harvey ever be indicted? We don't know, but his name is mentioned there. There's just no way a guy who's that obsessive about the expenditure of finances is not going to know about his money being spent on things like hitmen. But hi, guys, from Wendy here. Thank you again for hanging with the boys this weekend so George, her current boyfriend, and I can get away a bit. We are planning to leave after the boys get to school tomorrow, and I still have no idea where he is taking me, but I know it's in driving distance. Tonight, we will find out her son's basketball game schedule for the weekend. Do you have commitments this weekend, appointments, etc.? If so, as soon as I get the schedule, I can make arrangements with other basketball parents to take him to and from games, but I won't know until tonight, unfortunately. I will find out from George what time we will return on Sunday. It won't be too late since I think his flight leaves at 4 p.m. to California, and I have to be at this guy's book club by 5 p.m. Dave Lawrence, I'm not sure if you're aware who's in your book club, but it might be a good time to Google right about now. We'll talk again later and definitely first thing tomorrow. COE, do we know who this is to? I mean, this sounds like it's just to some friends. Yeah, it just sounds like it's to some friends. The interesting thing here, Dave Ehrenberg, number one, she's looking to unload her children, and there's nothing that the Markells want more than to take care of the grandchildren. And they would have been very happy, I think, to fly in for a weekend to watch them. That's the first thing that comes to my mind. But she seems to be just living her life here, just happily belonging to a book club, happily dating George. How do you see this?
I'm shocked if that is still her correct email address. I'm shocked. Is that real? Because that's too easy to figure out.
This was FOIA'd, so apparently it is, unless the government was getting the wrong emails. But apparently it is.
She goes above and beyond to try to conceal her identity. I thought she changed her name, her last name. She goes by Wendy Jill. So I'm surprised that she would use the name that everyone knows her by at Gmail as her email address. So
that's a great point. That's a great point. COE goes, oops, I probably should have blocked it. So if it's not redacted in public records, we don't need to redact it. But I didn't tell you to try it, everybody at home. But if you want to see if it's in 2023, it was her email, according to Primetime KC.
Okay. Well, that's why she's prime time, man. You know?
Yeah, that's exactly why she's prime time. But what about the fact that in Black Widow, I will not be emailing her.
I won't either.
Yeah, but Dave, I mean, she's just kind of going around living her life, which I got to be honest. If this was me, I would be paralyzed. I mean, I'm basically paralyzed on a good day, notwithstanding, law enforcement coming after me. So,
Well,
what do you make of this?
Emails aren't really a judge of how you feel inside, how your stomach is churning, how you're looking over your shoulder when the door when someone's knocking at the door late at night. It doesn't reveal it. I mean, you can be who you want. Remember, on Instagram, everyone's living the perfect life, and so you can be whoever you want to in an email or online.
Yeah, and this was before Charlie's trial. Go ahead, Joe Patuto.
Yeah, that was going to say wasn't he convicted the first week of November, and didn't his trial go about 2.5 weeks? So this is right before he's going to be tried, and she's just merrily talking about going away for the weekend, and she's going to have to go to Tallahassee to testify. This does sound like her though, because she signed it me, and that's the way. If you see her emails, she signs a lot of her emails me.
Yeah,
somebody could know that and copy it, but
Joe, that's a great point, by the way. I'm sorry, Dave, but October 5th, Charlie was convicted. November 6th of 2023, and then Donna was arrested November 13th, 7 days later. So November 6th, he's convicted. November 13th, Donna's arrested, and it's literally 4 weeks before then. Without a care in the world. I mean, if I'm Charlie, I'm not too thrilled reading this.
Well, hey, also, I might be focusing too much on this email, but I'm looking at the line that says, "I still have no idea where he's taking me, but I know it's in driving distance." That sounds like the start of a Dateline episode,
Yeah. Well, that's a whole other issue, but it's a brave man, I guess. I mean, Dave Aronberg. I mean, I know you knew Wendy, but if you didn't know Wendy and you knew about this crime, would you ever date a person like this, Dave Aronberg?
Of course not. But I do have just one little true crime anecdote. I was at a funeral for a friend of mine who was a criminal defense lawyer, died too young of cancer. And at the funeral, people are still, it's sad, but great guy. We're standing around outside, and this was about, I don't know, 10 years ago, 8 years ago. There was this attractive woman who was standing out in the group I'm with, who was smiling at me. And I was like, well, so I'm in the group and I'm looking, she could tell I'm trying to figure out if I know her. And she then puts her hand out and says, "Dave Aronberg, hi, Casey Anthony."
Yeah. What?
You don't have any kids that, little ones. So
then what happened?
That's a very Dave Aronberg story. What did you say, Dave?
I was tongue tied. And I was like, what are you doing here? And she said, "Oh, my investigator worked for him." And I said, "Oh, okay, well, nice to meet you, Miss Anthony." And then I left. I walked away. I was just like, oh my gosh, it's like, wow. I was a single guy back then, but even that, I was like, no, talk about the last woman on earth I would ever want to date.
So I have another question about this email. This was FOIA'd. You can't just FOIA a private person's email. So to whom was this sent that would allow a Freedom of Information Act request to be honored?
That's a great question.
You can't just be a friend.
I don't know. COE, please let us hear the voice of you, aka I don't know what else, but if you know, let us know. In the meanwhile, let me pop this one up. I think this one is different. We are rolling fancy free tonight. If COE, her parents, she thinks maybe her parents.
So, and Donna didn't know she was going to be prosecuted at this point.
Yeah, but Donna knew her son was going on trial
Yes.
4 weeks later, which is a little crazy. If you think I can read this, you're insane. But this is from Donna here, and I can't tell who. It's hard to believe 2019 is almost upon us. Let me see if my glasses work. Hold on. I have my glasses. I'm in panic state right now. Don't know where my glasses are. Where are my glasses? The one time I really, really, really need my glasses. Oh, here they are. Let's see if I can read this. Although it seems okay, thank you, COE. Much better. Look, print just got so much bigger. From Donna Sue to Wendy. Just please be aware that we get meetings scheduled at the last minute, and that may interfere with some of this. We will do our best to keep on schedule. Just give us a contact list of other parents in case something comes up and we can't take him somewhere. Also, leave me instructions for Ben, as I know he loves sleepovers and he can't do it unless homework is completed. So catch me up with what you want me to do about that. This is now October 5th of 2023, same time period. This is the same day, essentially. Again, talking about the weekend. So, Joe, this might be a response from Donna to Wendy on that.
They must have gotten this from Donna's phone records after she was arrested, because you still have to have some way to FOIA it, but Donna would have been arrested and they had her phone. So that's probably where this came from.
And she was arrested a month later than this, right?
Yeah, it's a month and matter of days. Yeah, 1 month later. And if you remember, John Day, in some of the calls with Charlie before her arrest, she's talking about taking her own life. This certainly, and she's known to be dramatic and hyperbolic. But here you see, and this is 4 weeks before that. It doesn't seem like she's overly distraught here, John Day.
No, it seems like this one seems normal and you're not reading anything else into this. Just sort of normal grandparent communication about helping out with kids. I mean, this doesn't seem exceptionally interesting otherwise.
Yeah. And Dave, someone said, why is she go back to that one for 1 second, COE. Why is she shouting the whole time in all caps, Dave Ehrenberg?
Because it's Donna. She's not exactly technologically advanced, and that's how grandmothers often speak in emails. So yes.
By the way, COE, not to cut Dave off, but I have an idea. Dr. G Explains is going to be, he does forensic analysis of emails. And not that I have anything against Joe, John, or Dave, but maybe we need a therapist on this to kind of read the psychology. And maybe I can do that with Dr. G for when we will not be here Thursday and Friday. Just a thought, not that they're not doing an amazing job and giving us amazing insight, but I'm talking strictly from a forensic analysis. But can I read this one? Physically, can I read it? It says, from Donna, hello, everyone. It's hard to believe 2019 is almost upon us. Now it's 2026. Although it seems a long time away, I was looking at information regarding our cruise this summer. Look at this. In 3 days, Oceana opens up its site. Hence, that's the time we have the ability to book excursions. I called Oceana to discuss this with them and got some information that I believe will help you look at the tour options. We're all entitled to 8 shore excursions, 4 per person, on and on it goes. At the moment, Harvey and I are reading up on all the excursions. This is 2019. This is 8 years, John Day, after she is now convicted of murdering Dan Markel. Must be nice to be planning cruises on the Oceana, or the Ocean, if I'm pronouncing it correctly. But again, it gives me the chills in a way to know that I got you on, Dave. But it gives me the chills in a way to know that these people were not just living their lives, but living their best lives, John Day. How can this come back to haunt them in the future?
Well, it does reflect someone who feels like I'm in the clear. There's nothing hanging over my head. This is ordinary life. And there's, it's of course the tone changes. But you've got to think that, people who are capable of doing this, capable of acting that way. I mean, 99% of life is pretty ordinary. So, I mean, when we're looking at these and they seem a little bit banal and a little bit, I'm just trying to read some of the print. But it is, one of the viewers wrote in about them being clinical. It is kind of clinical. I mean, is that because it's a medical lawyer family? I mean, is that like the worst of all worlds when you're getting all this detail? I mean, it can be pretty daunting, I think, but it seems very mechanical in a lot of it.
Yeah, it sure does. And maybe it is just the boredom of, I don't want to take cheap shots at dentists, Dave Arenberg, but they're not generally not the most exciting people in the world. This is next level kind of droning on. She says, the good thing here at the last paragraph is that since we are a group of 8, and there are 11 ports that we are visiting, it will not be an issue for the 8 of us to agree on what we want to see, because there's more ports than people. I mean, Dave Arenberg, you're a guy that knew Dan. You know a lot of the people involved in this. I mean, does it bother you? Like, does it make you angry? By the way, Ocean or whatever, I don't know how to pronounce it, but obviously I don't take them. They are the top tier cruises, someone is saying. Dave Arenberg, does it irritate you on a human level that they were just going about cruising the world, living life to its fullest at the hands after, literally murdering Dan is what I'm getting.
Hannah Arendt wrote about this, the banality of evil.
Yeah.
There they are. They're out there like nothing happened. They don't have much remorse or conscience. And why should they? Because they have had a life of privilege. They didn't get caught for 9 years. It took almost a decade for them to face justice. So yeah, excuse them for thinking they had gotten away with it, because in life they pretty much got away with whatever they wanted to do. And here they are thinking that they were untouchable. But, the same person who thought she was untouchable was the same one who decided to buy a one-way plane ticket through Dubai to get to Vietnam, and was found out real fast that she's not beyond the long arm of the law, my friend.
Yeah, for sure. Joe, Dave, I know Joe.
I know I have to go, but I want to thank you, Joel, for having me, and thank you to Mr. Day and Professor Joe. I'm sorry,
Dave. No, thank you. You have to answer this one question, though, and it's a very simplistic answer before you leave. Is Wendy going to get arrested?
I thought she would have been by Thanksgiving of last year, so I still believe so. I'm flummoxed as to when. I just don't know.
All right, that's honest. That's fair. Dave Arenberg, we love you. Casey Anthony loves you, and a lot of other people love you.
Thank you.
And your mother loves you. Have a great night, man.
That's
we'll talk
true.
soon.
Thank
That
you.
is true. Okay, take care.
I have a different question about that email. It was
Yeah.
2019. Was that the date on that email that she sent to her friends? Some of them were people who testified at her trial up at the top. Do we have the date? December 28th. Is that what it says?
December 28th, 2019. Correct.
Secreto Garcia was convicted in October of that year. She shouldn't have been running around thinking she was, free of this, because the person who did that, they hired to do the hit, has been arrested. I mean, it's hard for me to believe she's not worried at all that, law enforcement may be coming after her soon.
But isn't that isn't that what a psychologist could describe or identify or explain away? I mean,
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to get one on for these if Leslie B from Crime in a Minute will indulge us. I think we do, but that's a great point, Joe Patuto. And your eyesight's better than me, but like Anne is listed up there. She was one of the people who testified.
And also Ron Gutterman, and I saw another name, Annie Cunningham. Gutterman was her significant other, or husband, I can't remember which, but yeah, they're among the names up there.
Yeah, and they all testified, and they talked about taking trips together. Well, here's the proof. They were cruising together. Friends who cruise together, I guess, stick around together. Okay, I think we have this last one here, and then we'll get some final thoughts on a somewhat truncated show. Hi, sweetheart, from Donna Adelson to Wendy Adelson. Although you look stunning in that dress, Wendy, it was clear that you were just exhausted tonight. I hope the boys went in easily and that you go to sleep soon. I gave the boys a bath at your house because the shower water barely comes out. Dad saw that the shower head is totally covered with rust buildup, blocking the water from coming out. We can try to clean that up for you the next time we come over. God forbid they buy a new shower head. They had a bubble bath and had fun together doing that. Please try to remind. We'll go on the most expensive trip around the world, but I will rub the dust off of your shower head when I have some time. Please try to remind Ben in the morning to pack his Harry Potter book in his backpack so he can read in school. Let's try to talk this weekend about getting Lincoln moved into an appropriate level for math and reading. I know Mrs. Harold wants to go through all the number of minutes math, which Lincoln already knows, as well as testing to determine the level for I Ready. However, they are already aware from last year that he doesn't belong at this level and his time will be wasted waiting to be appropriately placed. He needs to be moved up now. He needs to be moved up now. Joe Patuto, again, this is, I think, the work more, or, a psychologist would have some pretty interesting insight, but you're a human that's been on Earth for a while. This is an overbearing mother here.
Mother, you better believe it. She sounds like the mother here.
Well, you can picture the email she wrote about the murder if she was going to do that. This is exactly what, maybe it's a leap, but this is, it's not that much of a leap. You can see this person's mind at work and you can see the detail at work. And if there was a murder email, theoretically, it would look something like this.
John, one of the reasons I'm sorry that Donna hadn't been arrested earlier is I just can't believe that when they were planning this murder and planning for Wendy to leave Tallahassee, she didn't have notes all over the place about what to do about turning off the electricity, when they could enroll the boys at school. If you could go back that far, I just can't believe you wouldn't find records of them doing something right at the time or before because of this.
You mean like post-it notes on the fridge about all the murder plans?
Yeah.
I totally agree with you. So.
Yeah, it's wild. Let me just read this last line again of the second to last paragraph. Donna says he needs to be moved up now. She's talking about the grandson and his level of reading or math, one or the other. Like right then and there, I've had these conversations with Carm, and I have to back her off like with a fastball, and then remind her of the 47 million people surrounding me in Miami who never graduated high school or college, who have very large bank accounts and are doing fine, that they'll learn at their own, and if they don't learn and get into the best school, they'll still be gazillionaires. So, but the I don't know, the sort of the immediacy and ferociousness and her desire to have these kids moved up now, it's interesting. It's an interesting perspective to see out in the open. The last paragraph here says, I'm assuming you heard, as I did today by text message, from Rich Wasserman about his father passing away this week. He said on Saturday between 1 and 6, he's having people over his house to pay condolence calls. I know you and Dad plan to meet after Orange Theory. Someone said Harvey goes to Orange Theory. I'm also only laughing at this because pre-true crime, when Carm and I thought we were going to be the next Joe and Jonette Rogan, we would just talk to random people. But then Carm likes to always give me a list of everyone this is in the book, about everyone she knows who's either dead or in the process of dying. I don't know if that's a Jewish thing, just a cultural thing. I don't know what it is, but it's kind of funny in a not funny way that she's talking about a funeral and condolence calls, because it's sort of weirdly cultural in some. Do Italians do that, Joe? Do you guys talk about death and funerals?
We take pictures of people in their coffins. Or they used to. And my mother would report to me at people I didn't know. And so she'd have to go through this long story so I could understand who she was talking about. So then she could share with me that person had died. So yes, Italians do it.
Yeah, well, on every episode of our original show, we did This Week in Dead and Dying, and Carm would go through the list of people who she knew who either just died or in the process and about to die. So in that way, I relate.
My mother would go to the cemetery when I'd take her to the cemetery, and she would tell me, look over there. You see that headstone? Now that person, look, it's like up the hill and to the left. And when we lived in Newark, that's where they lived. One floor up and to the left. Yes.
I don't know. Maybe Joe, maybe it's a Jersey thing. I don't know. Okay, so this is the last one. This is from Wendy. and it looks like the Florida bar is in there, and it says the price of intellectual vanity, a daughter's quest for intellectual acceptance from her family, establishing an emotional indifference. Not sure who sent this document, but the language is interesting. Thank you, COE. A daughter's quest for intellectual acceptance from her family, establishing an emotional indifference to a father's blatant emotional abuse. When a long train of abuses evinces a designed to absolute despotism, I assuage the anguish of your bereavement and leave you only the cherished memory of the loved and lost. What are you going to do when they turn 18? Let's look at the math. Let's look at the math question. There are two of them. Naturally, they will fight. It's what brothers do. They will disagree. Thus, your chance of an equal acceptance is rather low. One of them will hate you. For what? So you can't get a lifelong monkey off your back? Really? You can take away the internet. You cannot circumvent evidence legally gathered. And you cannot hide a simple Google search. This sounds absolutely insane. I have no idea what I'm reading here. My guess is an old sales adage, away from the pain towards pleasure. Those monkeys you and your idiot brother call parents will probably be dead once they turn 18. That's your brilliant plan. Keep them in the dark so as to appease daddy and mommy dearest. Then once they're dead, wrong use of the word there, dead, the truth has no consequences. LOL. Joe Patuto, any guess at what is being spoken about here? She talks about a referral to mommy dearest, which is, of course,
Joan
the
Crawford.
movie, Joan Crawford in the movie, just a horrific mother. But any idea what is happening here?
No, except it's really badly written. It's written by somebody who thinks writing this way shows you're smart and literate, and it's just terrible.
Yeah, I agree. My husband thinks he is smarter than me. I mean, these are weird things that I could see Wendy thinking. My husband is smarter than me. And the thing about mommy dearest, I could see her thinking this. John Day, any thoughts on this?
So this is purportedly a Wendy email? Is that?
It says Wendy's name up there, but the COE, and there's a cell phone for a text message. COE, you don't think that this is from Wendy?
Well, it's whatever it is. It's not a it's a troubled mind, I think. I mean,
but what is the Florida bar? Look at that Florida bar URL.
I don't know.
It says bar profile.
Yeah, I don't know. Someone said maybe it's Wendy's life coach.
That's not a good coach. And I mean, it's bizarre. It's bizarre.
Yeah, I have no idea what that is at all. But some of these emails emanate from this person, Wendy Jill Adelson. John Day, I mean, what do you think? I mean, realistically, what do you think? The relative to the length of this prosecution and the time it's taken from the time Dan Markel was murdered, July 18th, he succumbed to the injuries July 19th, but in 2014 to now, just a few months since Donna's conviction is really not that long. Are people, I guess, freaking out, for lack of a better phrase, that there has been no indictment yet?
Well, two things. First, being on a show with Professor Joe and Ehrenberg, it's like marrying up, you know? I mean, it's an honor. So as far as the length, I mean, looking at it technically, what are they doing? Do they have, they can't, she's got the immunity issue. There's a Castigar issue. What do they have that's not covered? Is it electronic stuff? Is it financial records? That can take a long time if you're trying to have an airtight case. I mean, I know Dave Ehrenberg was saying he still thinks there's a chance that she's going to be indicted. She's going to be arrested. I mean, we know, how methodical are they being, and how much do they care how much time they take? I mean, they've got a pretty good track record, so it's not like they've got the pressure of the world on them to do something miraculous. So yeah, maybe Ehrenberg's right, and they are working toward an arrest.
Yeah, I mean, some people have said, Joe Patuto, that it could be this appeal that they're sort of just waiting to find out, because if for some reason there was an appeal here that was effective, they would have to try Charlie again, and then maybe it would be calling the dogs off of Wendy for the time being. I mean, do you think the appeal has some issue here?
Well, that's not an unreasonable guess. But if he's convicted, then there's going to be the habeas case, which can take another 3 or 4 years. So surely they don't want to wait if there's a conviction. I think it's not, it could be that they want to see whether they're going to have to recharge Charlie before they take on Wendy. I don't know what other evidence. I mean, all the forensic stuff that they did, and they don't have to go redo it. That which applies to Wendy applies to Wendy. I don't know that they're going to find anything else there. And they did find a little more in Donna's prosecution. You have the Dan Markel's license plate number and Donna's, whatever that thing was called, date planner in the back.
Yeah.
They got that testimony from Jeff Lacasse about asking, do 3 and 4-year-olds, how long do they remember? Will they remember something? I don't know where they're going to find other evidence. So I don't know what if they're going to go, they might as well go, because I don't see what other evidence is going to show up now. The murder was 2014 and we're now in 2026, so 12 years.
Yeah.
Detectives are retiring. I mean,
yeah. They are retiring, and people are moving around that office. Tim said that it's a good chance George is going to move into a supervisory role, not even try cases. And Sarah was trying to get a judgeship, and other people in the office might be leaving. But someone just said that it looks like the bottom of this, which might be right, is a response from Wendy to maybe whoever wrote this. And it says, "You were worried about intellectual vanity. My husband thinks he's smarter than me, sweetheart. The evidence of self-explanatory was you and your family are morons." So I don't know. Maybe someone is skewering Wendy via the bar, maybe like a bar complaint type thing, and then she's responding, calling whoever this person is and their family morons, and underscoring the husband thinks he's smarter than me. But I don't have any more context, and sometimes that's a problem with FOIA documents. You just get what you get, and you don't get upset, as my kids say. But John Day, criminal defense attorney, Santa Fe, New Mexico, and typical show, we'd go for another 3 hours, but third show of the day, we'll wrap it up. John Day, back to the appeal. Tomorrow should be very interesting. Again, 10 a.m. We're bringing it to you live, assuming that we have the access to the pool cam, and the pool cam is up and running. We will bring it to you live. Hopefully, we'll get Abby Crossing right afterwards, who will be inside the First District Court of Appeal. Really, the strongest argument here might just be change of venue, that Judge Stephen Everett denied it. But again, Tallahassee's 200,000 people. I personally have walked around Tallahassee just cold asking people if they've heard of this case, and a lot of them didn't. I don't know. What do you think is the strongest point in their appeal, if any, and your final thoughts?
I mean, I do think it's weak, but I do think Professor Joe's thoughts on the jury issue might be it's going to be stronger than the venue, because, the media market's better than I do in Florida, but I can't imagine that would fly, that there's some isolated part of the state that would have been preferable for the defense. I think it's going to be a jury issue. If there's any legs to this, it's going to be on that, the reliability of the jury and and what happened with the communications or didn't happen.
Big shout out to True Crime in a Minute. Leslie B, she's in the chat now. She helped us with these FOIAs, and by helped us, I mean obtain them and then let us bar them. And she says the email was sent, the one that we were just talking about was sent from a Gmail, August 2021. Check out True Crime in a Minute. Give it a sub. And there are people who are amazing at FOIA-ing information, and I am definitely not one of those people. Joe Patuto, what will be the strongest part of the appeal for Charlie Adelson? And I guess, what are you anticipating most in tomorrow's hearing? Your final thoughts?
Yeah, I'm going to add what you said about Leslie B. She's got creative graphics, and she's got really creative ideas about what she focuses on her channel. So she's really very, very good. I said what I think is the strongest argument, and I don't think it's a very strong one, and that's the whether the motion to start over and get rid of the jury pool should have been done. Tomorrow, I'm going to be really interested. I mean, a lot of people have said, in fact, everyone I've heard has said that Ufferman is a really good appellate lawyer. So I'm going to be looking forward to see how he handles the argument, because a really good appellate lawyer is fun to watch. And we know what the brief says. He's obviously not going to parrot everything in the brief in 20 minutes. He's going to have to focus on what he thinks is strongest, and then pivot to respond to the questions the judge might have. So I'm really looking forward to the lawyer performances tomorrow as much as anything.
Yeah, and it's weird. I'm thinking of Shohei Ohtani while you're talking. Earlier this summer, I took my son to watch Shohei Ohtani, who is the best major leaguer to probably ever live. And when you watch him play, it just looks so easy. You're under the illusion that you too can get up and hit a 500-yard home run or steal bases or pitch a 100-mile-per-hour fastball, because he's so smooth and in his mechanics, and he moves so easily. The point being, usually the people are great at doing something make it look easy. So I think Michael Ufferman, there might be an aspect to it where it's almost slightly underwhelming, where you're kind of like, wait, that was it? It was kind of like when the reaction people had with Georgia Kappelman when she was crossing Charlie Adelson, and she just stopped at that moment. And people are like, wait, she should have gone after him. But this guy knows what he's doing. He's a pro, and he's probably going to make it look smooth and possibly underwhelming. But I think this guy is the best of the best. So it will be fascinating to watch, and we will have it for you live at 10 a.m. Eastern time. I have one wish for the day, and that is that the COE answers my phone call when I call her in 9 seconds from now, because I need to talk to her. And that's sometimes easier said than done. Her phone was, quote unquote, on SOS. The phone was on SOS about a month ago when there was a Verizon outage, and now she likes to use that as a reason. But it is rare for your phone to be on SOS unless there's a nationwide outage, COE, just as a little reminder. But I'll be calling you. Please answer the phone if you don't mind. I'd appreciate it. Love you all. See you at 10 a.m. in the morning. John Day, thank you. Joe Patuto, Prof. Joe Explains, the YouTube channel. Check it out. Love you all. Have a great night. See you tomorrow.